Have you ever wondered why democracies, despite their emphasis on freedom, sometimes fall prey to authoritarian regimes? Or how ideologies, even when born out of noble intentions, can transform into tools of oppression? The Open Society and Its Enemies by Karl Popper delves into these questions, offering profound insights into the nature of freedom, criticism, and the dangers of totalitarianism. Today, we'll explore this groundbreaking book in a way you've never experienced before. Karl Popper, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, was born in 1902 in Vienna, Austria. A thinker of extraordinary depth, Popper's philosophical career was shaped by the turbulent events of his time, including the rise of fascism and the horrors of World War II. His book The Open Society and Its Enemies, published in 1945, was a direct response to these events. Popper's central thesis is both timeless and urgent: freedom and criticism are the lifeblood of an open society, and their suppression leads inevitably to tyranny. Through this book, he critiques some of the most influential thinkers of history, including Plato, Hegel, and Marx, whom he sees as intellectual architects of closed societies. Popper's approach is unique because he combines deep philosophical arguments with practical implications. He challenges us to view history not as a deterministic chain of events but as a series of choices influenced by human agency. His book is as much a philosophical text as it is a guide for safeguarding democracy. Why is this book still relevant today? Because the enemies of the open society have not disappeared. Popper's warnings about authoritarianism, ideological rigidity, and the erosion of criticism resonate in a world still grappling with these challenges. Now imagine stepping into a grand library, where the air is thick with the scent of old books, and knowledge seems to echo from every corner. At one of the tables, you find Karl Popper deep in thought. Across from him, none other than Plato takes a seat, prepared for an intellectual duel. Their conversation promises to unravel the tensions between open societies and the philosophies that sometimes threaten them. Are you ready to witness this once-in-a-lifetime exchange? Popper: Plato, your vision of a utopia has inspired generations, but I can't help but see it as a blueprint for tyranny. Plato: tyranny? My republic seeks justice, not oppression. Popper: but justice, as you define it, demands the suppression of dissent. In your ideal society, rulers are philosopher kings who hold unquestionable authority. How is that compatible with freedom? Plato: freedom is dangerous, Karl. Without guidance, society falls into chaos. Popper: true freedom is not chaos, it's the ability to criticize and improve. An open society thrives on the exchange of ideas, even when they are uncomfortable. Plato: but the masses are easily swayed. A demagogue could destroy this open society you defend. Popper: and yet, the solution is not to silence the masses but to educate them. A society that fosters critical thinking is resilient against demagoguery. Plato: what about tradition? Doesn't it anchor society? Popper: tradition can guide, but it must never dominate. Blind adherence to tradition is just as dangerous as blind adherence to power. The open society evolves because it questions everything, even its foundations. Popper: let me ask you this, Plato, in your republic, who questions the philosopher kings?
Plato: the philosopher king questions himself, guided by reason.
Popper: but history shows us that unchecked power corrupts, no matter how noble its intentions. An open society prevents corruption by dispersing power and fostering accountability. 5 key messages of the book The Importance of Criticism. An open society survives only when its institutions and ideas are open to scrutiny. Without criticism, we stagnate. The dangers of ideological absolutism. Popper warns us against ideologies that claim to possess absolute truth, as they often lead to oppression. History is a tool for learning, not prophecy. Popper rejects historicism, the belief that history follows inevitable laws. Instead, he sees history as a series of human decisions that shape our future. In today's polarized world, Popper's insights are more relevant than ever. From the rise of populism to the suppression of free speech, the challenges facing open societies persist. The Open Society and Its Enemies reminds us that freedom is not a given, it must be actively defended through education, dialogue, and the courage to question authority. I would like to share some meaningful and thought-provoking quotes from Karl Popper's The Open Society and Its Enemies. These quotes encapsulate the essence of the book and its timeless wisdom. I hope they inspire and provoke your thoughts. Unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. Popper warns against uncritical tolerance, which can allow intolerant ideologies to exploit freedom and destroy it. This paradox highlights the need for boundaries in a tolerant society. Consider how extremist groups exploit free speech in democratic societies to spread hate. Without challenging their ideologies, freedom itself could be at risk. The open society is an ideal that can never be fully realized, but its pursuit is essential for human progress. An open society is not perfect or final. However, striving for it ensures continuous progress and improvement. Efforts to promote gender equality or environmental sustainability show how societies evolve through continuous questioning and reform. We are social beings, and freedom can only exist in a society where mutual respect and dialogue are cultivated. Ideologies that claim to possess the ultimate truth are the most dangerous enemies of freedom. History does not unfold according to a plan, it is shaped by human actions and decisions. Popper rejects the deterministic view of history and argues that our choices influence the future. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 was not inevitable but the result of countless decisions by individuals who fought for freedom. True democracy is not about majority rule but about protecting the rights of minorities. Democracy is not merely the rule of the majority but also the safeguarding of justice and equality for all, especially minorities. Successful democracies, like those in Scandinavia, ensure minority rights are protected through robust legal systems. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Freedom is not guaranteed, it requires constant awareness and effort to defend it from threats.
The global fight against cyber surveillance and data misuse shows how individuals and organizations must stay vigilant to protect privacy and freedom.
Popper's work is not just a critique of past philosophies, it's a guide for building a future where freedom and truth can flourish. If you found this discussion thought-provoking, I encourage you to dive into this book and join the conversation. And don't forget to follow FactUp for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and ideas that shape our world. Optional visual enhancements illustrations, depicting the imagined dialogue between Popper and Plato in the Grand Library. Infographics, showing the contrast between open and closed societies.
Quotes, highlighting Popper's most memorable lines like, "Unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance."